and spent part of his self-quarantine figuring out a way to help in the pandemic.
A Bay Area man owns a company that makes air fresheners for Tesla, but he's switching gears due to the pandemic.
One thing that really got me was, when I saw pictures of nurses crying and literally scared for their lives.
Arash Melik is using the same laser cutters at his plant to make face shields for healthcare workers.
We need to just act.
He's already donated more than 5,000 shields across the nation in just about 30 days, and it's all free. Carlo Montenegro, a respiratory therapist, helped Melik fine-tune the shields, and he gave them to his coworkers.
They're very grateful that someone's, went out of their way to just make it, and then we're able to just give it to us for free.
CJ Papa, Fox News.
An hour to the close on Wall Street, stocks are mixed after an early sell-off. The Dow's been mostly lower, the Nasdaq higher. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. The Fordyce City Council set to meet tonight at 6 p.m. One of the major agenda items for the council meeting tonight is a proposed reduction in water bills by $25 for the month of June. Mayor Matt Bemrick and the city staff have been developing a stimulus plan, and that proposal is part of the plan. Here's Mayor Bemrick on the idea behind that proposed reduction.
What are things that we can be involved in that put money in the pockets of the people in our community so that they can go out and patron one of our businesses, hopefully a local business. That's why we came up with $25 on the water bill, but I hope you spend it in our community, and I hope it helps some of the businesses that have been hurt. That $25 across our entire water system to each of those ratepayers or each of those consumers is $250,000 injected into our economy that otherwise would have went into the water utility.
You can attend the meeting by phone tonight at 6 p.m. by calling 312-626-6799 and enter meeting ID number 816-045-072. From Radio Iowa, Vice President Mike Pence was in Iowa Friday afternoon to hold a forum about the nation's food supply. That forum featured CEOs of two of the nation's major meat packers. There were allegations of price fixing in the industry from other panelists, and there was a revelation that another packing plant worker has died of COVID-19. Smithfield CEO Ken Sullivan was near the end of the list of speakers.
I'd like to use the time I've got to thank our employees who are heroes.
Sullivan said he spent Friday morning visiting one of the company's plants, and just before the forum with the vice president, he was notified that one of Smithfield's employees had died.
Our employees have been showing up day after day in close quarters. They've been harvesting the animals. They've been keeping the food supply in this country, and they're doing it in a selfless way. And I think they deserve a lot of recognition for that. It's gut-wrenching for us as companies to have a choice between maintaining the food supply in this country and asking our employees to go into plants to do that.
Pence convened the event at Hy-Vee headquarters in West Des Moines. He praised grocery stores, truckers, and meat packers and said that processors of beef, pork, and poultry have faced challenges, but 14 previously closed plants are resuming operations.
How about a big round of applause for all these great meat processing plants?
At least 730 employees at Tyson's plant in Perry tested positive for COVID-19. Black Hawk County public health officials say more than 1,000 at Tyson's Waterloo plant tested positive. Both plants are back in operation. Both of Iowa's U.S. senators and a National Farm Bureau leader were part of the panel. Senator Chuck Grassley bluntly said farmers want an explanation from meat packers.
How come we're losing hundreds of dollars on our cattle and the price of consumers are going up?
President Trump said last week that he's asked the Department of Justice to investigate allegations of market manipulation by Tyson, Smithfield, JBS, and Cargill. Those four companies account for about 80% of the beef market. The city of Fort Dodge has announced starting today, weather permitting, and lasting for approximately 1 week, 5th Avenue South west of South 15th Street will be reduced to 1 lane in each direction. Speeds in that area will be reduced. Motorists are urged to use an alternate route if at all possible. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Blend of clouds and sunshine develops this afternoon, a high in the mid-50s. Northwest winds of 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies and a low near 37. Tuesday, partial sunshine, high of 60 degrees. Wednesday, a chance for rain showers here, cloudy and a high of 57. Thursday, chance for showers and thunderstorms, a high of 73. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki.
Currently, it's 53. Balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
The difference I've noticed with this is that I haven't even gotten the sniffle. Since I've been on, I haven't gotten a cold. So somehow it has, supplemented and complemented my immune response.
Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com today and use discount code FRUITS.
Let's do lunch. I'm Dr. Josh Mason from Active Health Clinics, and I'd like to invite you to lunch with a doc. It's a chance for you and a guest to talk to me about a life free of arthritic pain. All month long, we're hosting Lunch with the Doc at our office. I'll sit down with you and talk about alternative solutions to your arthritic aches and pains. It's your chance to learn and ask questions and hear patient success stories. Limited space is available, so call and set up your lunch date with me today. We're Active Health Clinics, Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
That AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. I am the Doctor of Truth. With me now is the Doctor of Divinity, and that would be Pastor Austin Hill of the First Presbyterian Church. You are a Doctor of Divinity, aren't you?
I am a doctor, yes.
I mean, is it of divinity or theology, or what is your degree?
The Doctor of Ministry.
Doctor of Ministry. Is there such a thing anymore that you know of that is known as the Doctor of Divinity?
It's a Master's of Divinity. So you
Masters.
get that before you get the doctorate.
Oh, okay. So you get the Master's of Divinity, and then you get the PhD in Ministry.
You can get the doctorate in a variety of different things. It gets kind of more specialized. The general degree you need if you want to be an ordained pastor is the Master's of Divinity, and then from there you can get a doctorate in a whole bunch of different things.
Okay, all right. And you went to Princeton, right?
I went to Princeton for my master's, and then I went to Fuller for my doctorate.
You went to where?
Fuller Theological Seminary in Pasadena, in Southern California.
All right. Yeah. Oh, that's back in your home territory then.
Yep.
All right. Pastor Austin Hill and I often talk, in fact, almost exclusively, about our reaction, anyway, to a world that is decidedly unchristian, or it is becoming more unchristian all the time, at least as far as I see it. And how should Christians react to that reality now? Church attendance, of course, has been noted many, many times, has fallen off quite a bit. Participation in any kind of organized religion has fallen off quite a bit. Regrettably. I think my generation probably did that, but I'm not into guilt, so I'm not going to accept any. So there we go. I guess I was thinking of that. You know, Andrew Cuomo is the governor of New York, and he's a very loud critic of the president of the United States, Donald Trump. And sometime in April, around the 1st of April, he was on television, and all the networks covered this, begging people who had medical training to come to his state. He was just, I don't know if he was nearly in tears, in a complete rage, or both, but he was quite emotional on television, telling everyone in the country who had, again, medical training, retired doctors of all type, retired nurses, respiratory therapists, on and on and on and on. Please come to our state. We are dying. We need you now. Many people responded. They picked up from wherever they were in whatever part of the country, and they went to New York, probably for little or no pay. but apparently they were paid, because now, as Governor Cuomo gets ready to reopen his own state of New York, he's decided that the people who came to his state need to pay their income taxes on the income they were provided, which I find, the point I'm getting to here is the use and misuse of faith and basic decency by political people who seem to move wherever they want at any time of day to justify where they're going. First of all, this governor, again, obviously he's running for a shot at the presidency one of these days. But first of all, he's just begging for people to come. And then, when the worst is over, he said, well, not even thanks for coming, but give me your money. And he rationalizes this by saying that New York is a state that pays more in taxes than services it receives from the federal government. And that's true, by the way. That is true. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that's decent. I don't know if that's Christian. I don't know if that's moral, the governor's position. Now, I haven't seen anybody rush to his defense. I haven't seen any other governor say, hey, yeah, great idea. Let's hose the people who we beg to come here and help us and save lives of our citizens. Now, all of a sudden, this guy, the governor of New York, is demanding payment, income tax payment. And the reason he's doing that, he just needs the money. He just needs the money. Or I should say, he wants the money. So it's kind of I don't know. It's not a vague topic, but it's one that's out there. It's not top of the line when we talk about Christianity in the modern world. But I've seen this, Tom Harkin, our former senator, is a Catholic, and he always talked about his Catholicism and his deep faith roots. Well, of course, the Catholic Church doesn't approve of abortion. They believe it's a sin in their vernacular. And Senator Harkin used to shy away from that pretty fast. As a matter of fact, he ran one year, I think it was in the 90s, and a Catholic priest had made commercials denouncing Senator Harkin for being a liar and an opportunist. You know what I'm saying here? It's religion and faith being used. Cuomo didn't do nearly as bad as Harkin did. But what do we as Christians have a right to say, excuse me, Andrew, that's not even close to moral. That's not even in the neighborhood.
Well, I think you're asking a few different questions here, or just bringing up some different touch points to comment on. And I think generally, I think a starting point is to recognize kind of what you were leading with as well, that every political organization, whether it's Democrat or Republican, there are people all over, and this should sound not as a surprise, but there are people who are using religion to gain a better following, misusing faith, misusing people of faith. And I'll just say a little bit about myself growing up. I kind of assumed, really until I was probably about 20, maybe 22, I assumed that if you really were a Christian, you would be a Republican. And that was just what I held on to. And it wasn't until I met people who had come from different backgrounds than me, who were Christians taking their faith very seriously, who were Democrats. And so I think generally, and we see this on certain issues on both sides of the political spectrum, where you get people who are saying that, a Christian must believe this way and therefore must have this kind of a political leaning. And then, of course, politicians, not all, but many of them, happily lean right into that and use that for their own benefit. And we could go down all the different issues pretty quickly and easily identify what the typical argument about where a Christian should go on some of those things is.
It would never occur to me that someone's a better Christian or a lesser Christian because they belong to a certain political party. I come from a different generation where we actually our parents consciously taught us that we should respect those who go to different churches, which was phenomenal, considering I was a Catholic in the 1950s and 60s, because the nuns were teaching us if you weren't Catholic, you were going to burn in hell. So I think it was really in the time of Pope John II that he finally got rid of that. He said, no, none of that's true. It's all crazy, which it was. It was totally crazy. And anyway, but.
Well, so, I think, for example, when George W. was running, and let's see, I'm going to say his second term, that was actually the first time I was able to vote. And the first time he was running, I was 16. And I remember being interviewed. I was living in Seattle at the time. And I remember being interviewed by some publication somewhere, and they were asking if I knew who I was going to vote for. And I said, yeah, George W. Bush. And they said, why? And at that time, I had no hesitation. And I said, well, I'm voting for him because of my Christian faith, and I think he's a better candidate who represents my Christian values than John Kerry.